Hello Targar friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another org mode workout, and today was max effort deadlift day. Just a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos every day, please remember to click like down below. If you watch them, I know you enjoy them, and yesterday we did not successfully get more likes and dislikes on the training vlog, so if you guys could help me correct that so that we can get more likes, please do so. If you guys could offset the dislikes if you watch it every day. Please remember to do that. Thank you so much. Now, today we got a hard lift. We got a 2-inch deficit deadlift. Now, I went to do it on my mats, and I realized they're a little too soft to do deficit deadlifts on. All right, they work fine for box squats. They work fine for block pulls. I didn't feel they were secure enough. So instead of a 2-inch, I did a 2.5. Because the Rogue red training plates are 2.5 inches. And as I remind people who want to accuse me of anything fake, go to Rogue's website. Everything they have is listed. You can see the exact thickness of those plates down to the millimeter. You can see the exact weights of those plates. They actually certify the weights of these plates, so when people say fake plates, you actually, if you were to make a video doing that, I'd be curious to see if Rogue would actually sue you. Because technically you're slandering their company. They don't make fake plates. So, that being said, all their specs are readily available. You can see how thick those plates are. But we got a PR on this today. That 555 felt pretty heavy, but I'm like, you know what? I got one more in the tank. I pulled it, put 20 pounds more on it, said, all right, let's get 575. This took everything that I had. This was a true max. You guys have seen the slow-mo I put up already. But yeah, this was hard. This was a grinder. You guys watch, I get it up to the knee, it slows down, I'm a little grindy. That would pass, obviously, in comp, but it was rough. Had I had 5 pounds more on the bar, I think I would have missed that. So I judged it just right when I did the last weight increase. But it was tough. Now, people are going to be like, well, what muscles are your weak link? Well, that was back. Definitely back. And traps. Like, I felt my traps work really hard. Now, is that because of the deficit, though? Possibly. Because on a deficit, your traps get work harder. And people need to remember that. Just like people talk about a rack pull. Rack pulls don't work the traps as much as a normal conventional deadlift does, right? They can't. And a deficit deadlift works the traps harder. And I felt my traps. I felt them big time. And if you look at the biomechanics, it's very obvious why. And if you don't understand, man, you guys need to stick around. We have a lot to learn about biomechanics if you don't understand why the deficit works the traps harder. The lower angle. You have to hold them in scapular retraction more at the bottom. So we went ahead and did shrugs, though. But I went ahead and did shrugs up next, as I've been doing, because I feel like they're a weak link. They're an area that needs to grow. And I've had some people say, but Jason, you've got big traps. Yeah, but they could be bigger on my deadlifting. They could be bigger on my deadlifting, particularly my conventional pulls. Because I do feel that area, I feel a lot of strain in it on my conventional pulls, particularly when I get to a max. So we could stand to build that up, wouldn't hurt, and it works my grip. Now, as some people pointed out in the other things, some people were like, oh man, I'm ready for you to be able to get to a 600 conventional. That is the equivalent of a 600 plus conventional. 2.5-inch deficit. No, you're going to get easily 5 to 10% more going to conventional. So I have no doubt that I can pull 600 conventional right now. And we'll get around to it when we get around to it. I'm not worried about it. Let's come over to the point. When we're doing these maxes, we're avoiding the lifts that we have any emotional attachment to. We don't have to worry about them. We can estimate based upon what we get on these other lifts. We can do enough variations that we can hone in and figure out where we're at. All right, you guys see what I pull off a 2.5-inch deficit. You see what I pull with 77 pounds of chains on that. Same thing, we can do the sumo and look at the different variations. We have a real good idea of where my maxes are, based upon my maxes on the different variations. So I'm not worried about it. It is what it is. I'm just trying to hit a heavy pull every day and then identify the weak links and then train those weak links with tons of hypertrophy. So we did the shrugs. Shrugs are, again, a priority for me right now. Good mornings, glute ham raises. I didn't do glute bridges today. And it's not that I don't think they're a good lift. I'm just wondering if they're a good use of my resources. And I'm not saying I'm not going to use them or work them back in. I'm doing a lot of training volume. You know what? They're relatively heavy. They have a recovery element that, and they may not be the best lift. And the only reason I say that, and it's going to sound bizarre, I just did a video on Brett Contreras and people linked me the thing from his wall, and I saw one of his women who he brags on do a 700-pound hip thrust. She has like a sub 300-pound deadlift and normal sized glutes. So essentially me looking at that tells me that the only way my glutes would grow from a hip thrust would be by doing like 1,000-pound hip thrust, 1,200-pound hip thrust, right? Like how strong do you have to get on these exercises to see any growth? Like that actually made me really worry, because her results are so horrifically bad for her strength level that I almost question the value of these sort of exercises that I believe in. It actually has made me question them. I mean, I still think they're good exercises, but I really have to look at that and go, how could she have such subpar results? How can you have a 700-pound hip thrust and not deadlift like 500 pounds? What? So I'm going to think through how much I work on men. I'm still going to use them from time to time. I think they're good exercise. Still think some of my clients need them. But the good morning really hits my weak links more. And you know what? Good morning is a nice, strong, hard exercise that's easy to recover from. Has a lot of versatility, and I'm going to keep my focus here. Besides, I need the back, and it still works my glutes, it still works my hamstrings, still works my erectors. So I think for now, shrugs, good mornings, glute ham raises. Now I would say rows would hit the same areas I did feel a lot too, but I do so many chin-ups, I don't know if I can handle any rows right now. I'm doing 100 chins every day. Now if I have to, I'll find a way to work in rows if necessary, but it's going to be hard to do with the amount of chins I'm doing. Like something's going to have to give. Part of me says at this point maybe some strict pin lay rows could help my deadlifting. I just worry about the recovery elements. How much can I handle of everything? The training frequency and volume is so high right now. Because if you guys see, this is day what? I've lost count. This is what, day 14 in a row without a day off of maxing every day and then doing like 15 sets of 10 on supplemental lifts. And then doing 100 chin-ups. I can only handle so much. So I feel like rows could help my deadlifting. But you know what? Let's put the stuff where we know we need it. We know the chin-ups help. They've worked wonders for my grip. Building my lats nice and good, even though I have big lats already. I mean, they're working. They're helping. So we'll do the chins, but we'll just put the extra focus in shrugs, because the shrugs will hit a lot of what we might get from a row, because that extra trap, the extra grip. We'll do shrugs. Really heavy focus on good mornings, and just keep trying to get stronger at those glute ham raises. Because the glute ham raises are also that final key. Realistically, I know that my conventional deadlift, the shrugs and the good mornings, are really going to build it. That's where a lot of it's going to be for me. Glute ham raises are more for my sumo. They're for my sumo, and they're there for injury prevention. Making sure I develop all three heads of the hamstring. Because glute ham raise only for the good morning only fully develops two of the heads. And then the hip work. I feel like, as far as my hips and stuff go, they get worked on the good mornings. They do get worked on the good mornings. I don't feel them on the conventional. I feel them on my sumo pulls. But I really feel them on these glute ham raises. And I notice especially now that I've gone to the bands, and I guess it's because of the stress at the top, I actually feel my hips a lot. Now, let's come over and point this out again. People are like, that is really a light little band you're using. It is. You know what? When I've done heavy good mornings first, even with 205, when I've done heavy good mornings first, my hamstrings are already fatigued. Everything's fatigued. 5 sets of 10 with just this one light band, a 25-pound band. It really is only working on the top half. You know what? It's all I can handle. These are all pretty much limit sets. So it's fine. I'm getting the fatigue that I need. Getting all the fatigue that I need. Now, will I want to get stronger and go up to the next band? You bet. But I've got to get there. We've got to build it day after day after day. We've got to put in the work. And the whole point with progressive overload, we have to grow to progress. That's going to be another topic too. I feel like the evidence is becoming stronger and stronger towards that too. The scientific evidence, the real world observation, progressive overload. I don't know what causes muscle growth. Progressive overload is most likely the sign of muscle growth. That's how you know that you stimulated growth and adapted to it from the last workout, because you're stronger. Size equals strength. You're able to handle a higher workload because the muscles got bigger. That's hard for me to admit coming from a strength background. It's hard to admit, but I think it's true. I think that's what the evidence suggests, and I have all the bias in the world to reject it. So we have to get bigger. When the hamstrings grow, we'll be able to go to a bigger band. But for now, it's just tons of workload. It's a lot of hamstring work today, guys. A lot of erector work. Build those erectors, the traps, the hamstrings, the glutes. Big deadlift. Because my deadlift needs to go up. Oh no, I'm good for what, 600 now? Maybe a little more. Yeah, ballpark. Let's call it 600 to 610. Probably my all-out max, conventional. That's okay. It's all right for a 43-year-old dude. We can do better than that. We can do better. The only way to do better is to get bigger, though. We need bigger traps, bigger erectors, bigger hamstrings. That's how you do it, boys. Got to grow. We got to put in the work. Got to get thick as peanut butter. All right, guys. Well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.